Hey everybody, it's me, Cole. Today, you thought I would cast a match, or actually, I'm not going to cast this match. What I'm going to do is go over some of the basics of Imperial Guard. A lot of people have just started playing the Retribution beta, which is really awesome because it's great to see there's a bigger community behind it. So, what I thought I'd do is do a quick video on some of the real basic ideas of Imperial Guard, how they're, I'm not saying I know how to play them,
Allies
but at
have
least
captured a requisition point.
some of the better things to do, and some of the really bad
Our
ideas.
mates have captured a power
And a
node.
lot of them are going to be shown right here. So this is going to turn into more of a analytical or an analyzation of this match from perspective. So first off, let's just pause the game right here. This is for Imperial Guard, so it's all Imperial Guard, which could be absolutely insane if everyone knew exactly what they were doing. Unfortunately, not everyone does, and this game actually turns into a bit of pretty much an easy win because of a few really basic mistakes. And I'm not saying anyone is at fault here because these races are new, and even if you're a master level 60 Space Marine player, if you're going to be playing Imperial Guard for the first time, you're still going to be a little bit confused on it. So I made this, making this tutorial just to help everyone out a little bit. So the first thing I want to point out is your guardsmen. They're your most basic infantry. They're pretty sucky, in fact, but they make up for it in numbers, which is the whole idea and the lore behind it. I am not a huge lore guy, and so if I get something wrong, I do apologize. But there's very little I can do about it because I'm not too good on the old lore. But the first thing I really want to point out in the beginning, if you're Imperial Guard and you're going to be going against other Imperial Guard, you're going to want to get more of an infantry base than a sentinel base, because sentinels are great for melee combat. They get rid of melee, but if you're facing someone else who's Imperial Guard and you have a sentinel, you're either going to have to run your sentinel to their lines, meaning it's an easy target for a focused fire and possibly a quick death, and if you lose that sentinel that early in the game, it can be a death blow. So you don't want to do that. If you're going against another Imperial Guard player, it may be a good idea to get a sentinel maybe as your second or third unit, but never as your first, because you're never going to run into a situation where you have melee troops on in the first 5 minutes of the match. After that, you may get some Catchian devils or devil dogs, or I'm going to call them jungle people or the jungle tribe, however you say it. I've been called on it before. So that's a real quick point. Imperial Guard versus Imperial Guard is more about infantry play, and later on there's some other mechanics that pop in, but for the moment we're just going to say that even I show you here, I only have 2 Imperial Guard squads, and I think I actually get a Sentinel in just a little bit, but only because I see my enemy players already got a Sentinel. And Sentinels can be very useful at about stage 2 tier tech, because they can get the missile launcher upgrade, which is your it's a basic form of anti-tank, anti-vehicle bombardment, but it's pretty weak itself. So they're actually incredibly good against dreadnoughts because of their mobility, but they're incredibly lacking against any type of tank that can shoot destroy their main armor. But let's continue on with the game for right now. So what do I do in the center here? As Imperial Guard, I want to be a defensive mindset, especially with the Lord General, which is my chosen hero. Now see, I've just finished a turret in the center here, giving me control over. If they try and capture them, they're going to be in the range of my turret. It means they're going to be forced to retreat, and they also take a few heavy losses. They lost 3 people already. And I'm sorry if the sound effects on the background are a little bit high. I'm still working on this. Now here's the thing. He's took back the squad. He already lost, 2 people. And if we look at the situation right here, I have my ally down here. He has 1 sentinel, 1 commissar, I believe. I keep getting it wrong. And 3 guardsman squads versus 1 Lord General, 2 guardsman squads, a sentinel, and another guardsman squad. So we're just gonna win this fight with overwhelming numbers. There's a reason I'm not taking good cover. If I really want to be excellent cover, I would have actually gone here or here to take the cover advantage from this. But let's continue. Oh, and I didn't want to turn to ×2. There we go. So now you see he's being forced to retreat, and look at how damaged that Sentinel is, and it's only the first minute and 30 seconds into the game. He's already almost lost his Sentinel. In fact, it may go down. Yes, it does go down because the Imperial chased it. So what does that tell you? As an Imperial Guard player, first off, your Sentinel is incredibly weak. If it gets below half health, you really have to start considering what you're going to do with it. Not only from a point of fact that, oh, if my Sentinel dies this early in the game, I'm going to be at a major disadvantage, but also, what am I going to be able to do about it? You know, he now has a Sentinel advantage. That means he has a big tank that I'm going to have to attack to get rid of it, and it's something he can repair, which is the first thing. As soon as he retreated these squads, he should have started moving everything back and just do a full-out retreat. Sentinels do not have a retreat function, so don't look for it. You just have to know at about half health, you've got to get the heck out of there, because it's going to give you just about enough time to get back to your base and to your turret guns, where you hopefully have a guardsman squad alive to repair him. Anyway, moving on. They did actually capture this. I started capturing this. This is not very important. This is pointing out. Now here we go. He has a nice squad defensively positioned, meaning this guy's going to have to pull back. There's not too much he can do about it. He is fairly underwhelmed. He does actually, it looks like he does get a, he does get a new bunch of garrisons on there, but that's fine. It's nothing special. Here we go. This is another really important thing. He knew I had a turret that could reach here. He knew that from last time he engaged, so he does something pretty smart, and goes to this corner here where there's cover. But there's still a problem here. First off, let's close this tab real quick. First off, I have a cover in green cover. Actually, I think it's non-effective right now. It's double green, but they're on the wrong side of it, so they only have half protection. And these guys are on yellow cover. But it's 6 and 5, so I have 11 people. He has 9. I still have numerical advantage, so we're still going to come out on top, and these guys are well covered, and 2 squads firing. So it was a bad idea to engage her, and my turret actually does get in the action somehow. I think that may have been a bug for a second. It did give me a little bit of advantage, but you see my this guy is shooting but not turning around. But okay, I think he actually tried to focus my Lord General, but this is just bad position. When you're seeing this stagnant fight, unless you absolutely know you're going to win, and you have a stage B to it, don't do it. Because a drawn-out firefight is going to favor the person who has more forces and who can deal more DPS. If you're not that player, don't engage like that. It's great for being able to hold a fire. For instance, if he at this point had all these troops here, and at the same time walked a Sentinel up to these guys, even though it'd be in range of my multi-las turret, he could still have stomped them, got them out of cover, because the Sentinel would have destroyed the cover, and then moved back and done more suppressive fire, and possibly moved to the right next to them and gotten repaired at the same time. So, this standing off is not good at all. I see my ally here is actually doing a little bit of a silly thing, which I'll explain in just a second. Let me just get a quick sip of coffee. Coffee's good for you people. So we continue on here.
Sir, our advantage
Now,
is slight.
He's going against 3 guardsman squads with 1 sentinel.
Requisition
I don't
points
actually
being
agree
acquired
with
by our
this.
allies.
3 guardsman squads can take out a sentinel pretty quickly if they're not doing anything. So it's not the biggest thing. Now here's what I do. I know for a fact that he has guardsman squads. I know that he has lots of infantry,
A power node is
and
now
no
in
one's
friendly
actually
hands.
gotten any catching devils on the field because you can't get them this quickly. So I had to have a game plan in mind to pull all this off, because I knew 2 facts. A, I had come out on victory in the first battle, and there was a small victory over here, so my ally would have at least been able to stand a chance against some of these guys. If we go down here to the unit tab, you can see that they are just pure guardsmen heavy. Really, really heavy on the old guardsmen, which is great in certain situations, but in the situation we're in right now, it's actually pretty horrible for them. Because one heavy machine gun squad, as we're going to see, is able to suppress more than one squad. He moves down here against my ally. He should have actually gone on this cliff here. He would have had a better chance, but whatever, it's okay. And this is another thing. Terrain positioning matters. Look how much damage he can do to the Inquisitor, even with oh no, the shield was off. But 3 guardsman squads, that's a lot of firepower you can bring to bear. Don't forget that the numbers are in your favors. Flamers, also, if you see that flame upgrade, if you play defensively for a flamer, you better have some heavy suppression background and long range firepower, because those flamers have got a short range. So here we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. He's trying to be aggressive with his flamethrower squad, bringing in a turret in the background, and then gonna run into guardsman infantry. Not a bad plan idea at all. It's pretty well conceived, and on a basic level, it works really well. Except that if you think about what he's seen in the past, he should have realized that I would have had a squad here. So we would have been 1 squad even though he's upgraded this squad to have more members in it. Yes, he's got the sergeant upgrade, so they have 9 people instead of 7 or 6. And I have 1 last turret in here. So even if I fall back from this position to behind the cover, he would have had to have run through my last cover and at least my Lord General. So still, that's 2 units versus 1 plus turret support. He should have realized he would not be able to break that wall, but he still continues with it. And we'll see what happens.
We have an edge for now.
Now he moves his other squads in about the same time.
Sir, we're
moving it up with the flamethrowers, really good idea. But here we go. First off, he gets in there. I don't move back fast enough, which is perfectly excusable. Actually, perfectly non-excusable. This squad actually just totally got cut down because of the heavy bolter fire, but it's something else. So I actually, as soon as these guys came up, I should have moved them behind the fence, allowed my last turrets to start shooting at them, and allow my Lord General to continue shooting. He moved too far up. I put a gambit on the field saying, I believe he's going to go more infantry base than... yeah, he's going to get infantry instead of a sentinel. So that's a bit of a gamble, but you have to understand there's a reason why I did that. I said, okay, I'm definitely going to be fighting more infantry. What I want a squad that can deal really well with infantry. It's not a ultimate counter, but it's a pretty hard counter. So as we saw right there, the squad suppressed them, and then it was totally annihilated. Now he moves in with the second squad. This is just wasteful. If you saw your first squad just die, and he does retreat, excellent. That's perfectly reasonable. He saw that he had a heavy machine gun, another squad, and my Lord General had just been upgraded with a grenade launcher. Brilliant. He pulled back. That's exactly what you want to do at that point. Now on the right hand side, he's done the correct thing, gone on top of the cliff. He probably wanted a heavy weapons team up here and being able to shoot down and whatnot, but he just didn't have one, unfortunately. So let's see, this is the red player. He's calling this squad back, moving his lord back in, and we're going to see that this Inquisitor, if you're this low on life, pull back. It's not worth to lose it. I couldn't have gone up here and simply resurrected it with taking a lot of damage with my Lord General. He's in numbers up here, he has 2 great. And look, he's taking the perfect position, covering the body, waiting for his buddy general, which should be this guy up here, who did capture this. Good on him. I should have actually defended that. Okay, so now what do we receive response for this turret? We see this player going for a heavy weapon squad himself. Not a bad idea entirely at all. It can be very, very viable.
Such small things cannot deter me.
But here's the problem with it. Unless you're gonna upgrade it to an auto turret or an auto cannon, you're gonna have the same range as me. And if you set up in my range of suppression,
under attack.
Well, let me just pause it for a second. If you set up in my range of suppression, that's really bad, because you're gonna take, either you're going to lose your entire squad, or you're going to take such heavy damage that you're going to have to pull back straight away anyway. So it can be a good decision, but you really have to wait to Tech 2 for to counter a heavy weapon squad with another heavy weapon squad upgrade. In the meantime, we see over here a group of devils coming out. Really good idea. Devils are incredibly useful for two reasons: their grenade launcher and their shotgun. Instant suppression, instant knockback. Two major factors, and they do 10 DPS more than your guardsman squad off a bat. So they're absolutely brilliant to get. Over here we see this Lord General moving
is
in
under
here.
attack.
And let me just hold on one second. I want to see if I can turn the noise off there for a second. He moves his Lord General in to attack this. Perfectly fine idea. I've got nothing against it. He's going to stand there for a bit. At this point, he should have realized, I'm going to be
We have an edge for
surrounded.
now.
He moves in, though. At this point, he should have retreated. And as we're about to see, I move my heavy weapon squad back, thinking he's going to retreat. But he actually advances after my heavy weapon squad back. But he's standing there taking far too much damage. Yet again, you're
Is getting away from us.
you're sending a hero unit that is good at defense versus three units and another las turret. It's just not a good idea. You always have to keep this numbers game in mind. You send 1 versus 1, you may have an even chance. Send 2 versus 1, you're going to come ahead. 3 versus 1, you're going to obliterate them unless that one squad is a direct counter or has an ability to really go against it. And the Lord General at Tech Level 1 doesn't have any of those. So it was not the best idea to move out. And he's going to be forced to retreat. I move my heavy weapon squad up. Now what he could have done, when as soon as he saw this move up, he could have moved all his heavy weapon squad, his flamer squad, straight up to about here, just outside of the range of my turrets, and then would have been able to go ahead and attack me. Or he would have been able to set it up and shoot me, and I would have had to pull back. But as we see in a second, another mechanic comes in through upgrades. So we're going to have to talk about that in just another second. On the right hand side, he's setting up these dragon's teeth or deployable cover.
Message received.
I don't fully
We're
agree
in the
with
middle
it.
of upgrades.
These guys are forced to retreat. Bad positioning yet again. 4 units versus 1 unit. Never a good idea. Maybe 5 units because of the hero. Deploying these, making this deployable cover in these really tight, small spaces at Tech Level 1, not always a bad idea. They take a long time to build, but here's what you can get out of it. You can't get past them. Infantry actually have this little thing where they just can't run past them. They've got to go around them. I think it's actually a game bug at the moment that the Relic hasn't fixed, and I'm sure they'll get around to it. But for the moment, it can actually block off a small little choke like this, and you can put troops behind it. And if you're playing someone like Chaos, their heretics wouldn't be able to barge in at you straight away. So if we move back up here, we're going to see he actually has moved his turret
Sir,
up.
our
Not a bad
advantage
idea.
is slight.
But here we go. You see, he's actually chosen a pretty good range, and it's actually not a bad call at all. He moves in, but here's the thing. Grenade launchers, the grenade launcher upgrade from the Lord General, outranges a heavy weapon squad. So I'm just going to stay there,
A power node.
and I'm just going to
Roger.
pelt him for a bit, because there's no reason for me not to. If he's going to stay there and just tank the damage, I will happily oblige him. Here he goes, moving up, making some deployable cover. It's not going to help you that much. Deploying to this
Upgrade
left-hand
order
side,
received.
not a bad
A
idea.
victory point
I
is
actually
slipping
move in
away.
here. I move in far too close. I never should have done this. I moved in far too close, and I get suppressed in just a second. Now my ally here, ally here is doing a little defensive little bubble here, which is interesting. We know that we have the advantage for right now, and that we have 2 control nodes over the 1. But to be honest, look what's happening. If you stick yourself in this center
Sir,
region,
power
he's going to
node
have to
is ready.
redeploy all his forces
Sir,
down
power
here.
node's been targeted.
And look, what's this enemy player doing? He knows he's going to be attacked. He doesn't know from what angle. He's got a 50-50 chance, either from this path or from the north. So he knows he's going to have to get some cover down, and a multi-las turret is actually not a bad idea at all. The only maybe the bad part would be if the enemy troops use these rocks right here. So that's something he probably should have kept in mind and possibly should have put it a little bit further back. And he doesn't quite get it up in time, and the flamethrowers come in, but that turret's going to do an awful lot of damage if it would be more supported and had other things. A pyre goes down, really good choice, but
Power node is taking
there we
hits.
go, it dies. And again, he's going to be forced to retreat any second now.
We have an
He should have
edge for
already
now.
retreated. Look what's happened. As soon as the Inquisitor went up here, you should have retreated. It doesn't matter. He would have lost a few troops running past all those jabs, but he should have retreated right there as soon as the Inquisitor got through those lines, because your guardsmen can't do anything in melee combat. They're absolutely useless. I think they're nigh on the worst melee units in the game. I am almost positive about that. I'm sure someone will correct me, but they're so bad. Never, if you see something coming that close to your guardsmen and you don't have a sentinel to back them up and stomp it to get it away and focus fire it, stop, run away, save your troops, because you're just gonna waste your money. So as we see in a second
Reporting
here,
damage to structure.
he comes over here, he brings up some Catchian devils, blows it away, but
Allies
at
have
this
captured a
point,
requisition
think what
point.
he's fighting. Now he's pretty lucky that his Catchian devils were right there. It may have been a great strategic move, but look, he's running them back and forth.
Their
He's going to take off the
commissar's dead.
sentinel, which is a great pickup for him,
Sir, the Inquisitors improved.
but it was lucky that it was there. It was
Won't be
purely
long, sir.
lucky that he came in. And look how much damage he's taking to 3 squads. He finally gets those guys out of there, but my goodness me. Look how
Sir,
much damage
reporting
that
tech
was
upgrade complete.
in the end. He went against 2 squads of infantry, losing more than 50% health on this one, and this one only has 100 life left. 2 squads of infantry are nearly dead, and one of his Cadian Devil groups are nearly dead as well, all because they weren't at the right time, the right place, and he didn't retreat at the right time. At that whole point, he should never have kept those guys there. If he would have had them here doing some grenade launcher action earlier and stopped the Inquisitor from coming, that would have been great. That would have been perfect. But he didn't have it there in time, unfortunately. Anyway, he did manage to capture this point, but if you lose so many troops in capturing a point, at one point it just does not become worth it. Anyway, moving on here. Point out, I get my Lord General a little bit
Sir,
further
our
back
advantage is
and
slight.
continue the bombardment. One of my guys is a little bit further forward than he shouldn't be, but look, this outranges this. If that happens, you don't want to stick around, because you're just going to lose a squad for no reason. And he loses a heavy weapon squad for no apparent reason. Such a bad thing to happen. Now, I did try and set up a squad up here, and he does have the right idea. This is perfect. This has been here for ages. He has deployable cover in the front, so his troops have heavy cover, so you can't just, out DPS them that easily. And he has a multi-laser turret behind them, backing up the entire squad. Great little defensive play at tier level 1. In fact, I'd say that's almost a Neon perfect upgrade. Neon perfect placement. One or two small things I'd say is he has this area of rocks in range and this one, which is just great. It means if people do hide behind it, the last turret can still fire, even though they're under heavy cover. And the only thing I would disagree is with these teeth. If you're going to use teeth, remember they're incredibly slow to build. You should have had this facing in this direction here, not this direction. Now you may think of why, because if your troop is going to run up here and use the AI path to attack this as a melee troop, they're going to run around here, run here, and then run this way. So you want to cover this end to make them, instead of going straight at you, want them to force them around this corner here so everything fires on them. And if you had some Catchian Devils right here, this would be very hard to break because of the firepower. But as we've seen a little bit, this is all countermanded in tier tech level 2, but when I bring out a Manticore. Once you get into tech level 2, your build order really starts differentiating from tier 1 in dramatic ways. No matter what, in every single game, in the beginning, you're going to get out a guardsman squad. You're going to get out a sentinel depending on how many units they have and if you like Sentinels or not, but you're definitely going to get out a heavy weapons squad. So these things you know are going to happen. But at tech level 2, the whole game changes because you don't know where they're going to go and how they're going to set up. So we'll continue playing it for a little bit.
We have an edge for now.
On the right hand side, we
Sir,
see they're capturing
we're losing
this
a power
back.
node.
That's fine. And then these guys here capturing this back. Excellent. He actually upgrades to the missile launcher. I'll just pause 1 second to read this to you guys. When equipped, the missile launcher, Sentinel can change between fire and CAG and frag missiles. Frag missiles are effective against infantry and CAG or against vehicle and buildings. An excellent upgrade at tech level 2 gives your Sentinel a bit more versatility. Now the Sentinel is also grand at dreadnoughts, and I believe I said that earlier. But yeah, no, sorry. They're also, if you're going against a Space Marine player without upgrades, the Sentinel is actually really, really good against a dreadnought because of the maneuverability of it all. But the missile launchers are actually incredibly useful. A nice little upgrade to definitely give yourself a little bit more potent power with one of your more basic units. Now I get an Ogryn squad because this is a heavy melee squad that I can that can counter Catchian Devils. Because
We're
right
losing
now,
a requisition point.
to advance, I'd have to move up my heavy machine gun, which is incredibly difficult. But look what happens here. He uses the shotgun ability, perfect
Processing
use,
the lad's
blows me
request.
back, good use right there. Suppresses me, doesn't allow me to catch up. Stops for a second. He should have kept moving, but it doesn't matter. My guys are still sprinting, and they're going to be able to catch up. They also are considered super heavy infantry, so
Message
the
received.
power of the infantry here are just not going to do that much, and they're taking pretty good damage just by running around. I set them to retreat because I know two things. A, they're going to have to run through all this entire line down here, and he has infantry reinforcements and a hero here.
Looks like our
I just didn't want to
requisition
take
finally went
unnecessary
through.
damage. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with pulling back and not wanting to take unnecessary damage? I didn't have the troops there, I didn't have the deployment correct, and if I would have continued, it would have been unfavorable engagement. My retreat path was perfectly clear. Why would I even bother risking my troops? Running the back, that would have taken an extra couple hundred damage, and I just didn't want to use that right now. Because
Sir,
I
our
know
advantage is slight.
what is going to happen. Now, look what happens here. He deploys in heavy cover,
Processing
gets
the
his
lad's
stuff up,
request.
he's suppressed, and gets another squad up. This is just a waste. This is exactly what I was talking about. If you deploy inside of a heavy cover squad who's got a sergeant, who's got the entrench ability going, which means you can't, if you use your Catchian Devils or the Devil people, you can use your grenade launcher. You will not unknock their position and deploy at the same time. You will not be able to do that. So this was really silly, and he's going to lose this squad. And it was just an easy win for me. And at this point, what has he got? He has nothing. Look, he moves in his other squad, and he can't do anything
Sir,
about
the
it.
Inquisitor is gone.
Now, if we look up here, he ran its Inquisitor far too far forward, and yeah, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squads of infantry. No matter what you have, unless it's vehicle armor against infantry, don't do that. Don't be that exposed. I remember this game is about careful movement to the correct position to give you better location and give you an upper hand. So this was just a very silly idea to move it out that far. He did it, unfortunately. You know, no one's perfect. Anyway, I bring out a Manticore because I know, first off, he's entrenched up here. This is the main reason I wanted to get a Manticore, simply to break that. Yes, I probably could have used my Ogrins to go down here and yada yada and go over here and attack it, but a Manticore can actually serve a couple of purposes. I also know he had a bunker over here, and he had this position here. He may have had more defenses down here. Manticores are one of these units that everyone keeps saying, oh, they're so overly imbalanced, but if you have a mobile army, avoiding a Manticore strike is actually pretty easy. So you only get the full value out of a Manticore, really, if you're able to really pick off a couple of units, and or if
We
you're
have an edge for
entrenched in the
now.
wrong place. It gives you a deployment advantage. So I kill that with a Manticore Strike. It's nothing big, it's actually pretty easy. If he would have seen the dots, he should have retreated, in fact. He may have even gotten out of there. Alive.
Use your cover, men.
Remember, using the frag shells, not so effective against buildings. Still do some damage, though.
Go ahead, sir.
Runs in here. Now let's talk about this. This is, a lot of you are going to go, huh, this looks like a reasonable advance. But really look at it. While I drink some more coffee. Really look at the situation. So, I'm going to ignore that he has this situation here. If he would have taken the Sentinel and just focus fired down these guys, we would have been fine. Look. Now he moves everything in, goes to covering position with Devils, fine. This rocket launcher is going to tear his units apart if he gets the correct positional fire. Remember, they don't always hit, but if you stop moving, they're going to hit. And look how much damage he's done. In another 5 to 15 seconds, he would have killed that squad. So he did take that position, but what is he going to do? He can't really advance on this that easily.
Needs armor.
I get some extra generators here, but I also have a machine gun here, and there's nothing he can do. Now, if I had the presence of mind to see this, I was actually focusing on this battle over here for some reason. How is he going to advance? If I would have seen any of this, he knows there's a Manticore in the field, so taking this kind of cover may not be the best idea unless he's paying a lot of attention. But he's still taking this defensive posture against this army here. Why? Why is he attacking this central node that's so heavily defended? He should have had one of these guardsman squads or one of these Catchian devils move down here, decap this, do some power harassment. He's keeping all his units in one big blob. It's the, if I want to get it to an equivalent in StarCraft, as some of you may know, it's the 1A syndrome. You know, you have your entire army, you 1A it, and you hope for the best. A little bit more micro involved here, but, you know.
We are winning this one, sir.
The Manticore, it wasn't used, but I used the Manticore in this position right here. So I know I have a Manticore available. I send my guys into attack, and he's going to set up this nice little trench here to get me suppressed. It works. I get suppressed, instantly call down a Manticore Strike. Manticores are great at getting rid of suppression fire. Didn't kill it, which is actually good. It would be very overpowered if everything instantly died.
Sir, they've a solid 200
He should have retreated here.
now.
He should have retreated everything at this point, and I just surround it, finish it off.
Sir, we're losing a victory point out there.
Now, he does exactly what he's meant to do down here. He leaves one squad behind. He leaves two squads behind, in fact. I guess he wanted to leave it because of their ability. I'm not too sure why. But he moves everything down here. Beautiful play. But what is he going to do to back it up? He's going to stand there, take heavy missile fire. Just such a bad idea.
Enemy commander
look.
defeated.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, he's dead. Use the grenade ability to push it back, but this is going to be surrounded. And so he wasted a squad getting this. He does retreat it. Thank goodness. That was a good move in this. Logrun's up here, run in here, attack the little multi-las gun. It's fine. Still doesn't notice this. Now they have 2 to 1, but I decap this one up here, so we're doing just fine. Moves up here. Now here's a good question for you. These guys are advancing from this right side. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? If he has energy for a grenade launch, that's a brilliant idea. It stopped them capping, or would have stopped them capping if he would have selected this unit instead. He just hit the wrong unit. Now remember, Sentinels are a ranged unit. A very long-range unit, in fact, when you compare them against basic infantry, which is what most of this matchup is actually consisting of. And so look what he has. He has a Sentinel this close to heavy cover. You really don't want to do that.
The advantage is ours.
And we see what happens to that in the middle a little bit.
Won't be long, sir.
Move some devils in here. He can't get into my squad. They now have a sergeant, so as soon as they deploy, watch what happens. They get a nice little shield. Boom. Nothing they can do. They can't knock them back. They can do do a volley of grenades, but my Lord General's healing them anyway, so they're not going to be able to do too much of that. The red player is running around doing the absolutely right thing. Here's actually something very interesting, which I didn't realize. These low ground units can't shoot past the high ground cover. So if he would have stayed right there, you would have been fine. But he decides to move up to the actual cover
The
and gets
Inquisitor seems
absolutely decimated.
invigorated.
But still, yeah, look
A
how
victory
close
point is slipping away.
these sentinels are. They should have been back here. They would have done the same amount of damage, and they would have not been taking this heat.
Generator under
And
attack.
they would have taken these devils out of the equation because they're a medium range fighting unit. So, remember, your sentinels, use them at range. Put them behind your army if you're doing a ranged fight, in front of your army. Oh, sorry. Let me restate that. Sentinels can soak up damage in the very early stages of the game, but we're definitely in the mid stages of the game. We've got Tech 2 for most players, and if you have that going on, you are not going to want to get your sentinels attacking. You would have already upgraded them with a missile launcher, the meaning they're either going to be effective against vehicles, which means you're going to have to be very mobile with them because you may want to make sure that they don't get hit by anything big, or they're upgraded with the missile launcher, which has got more range than the average infantry units, so they should not be in the front line anyway. They can, at near tick level 2, once you get your devils out, you're going to be able to take them out pretty quickly, as we just saw. And in fact,
We
if
are
you
winning
guys seen
this
a
one, sir.
stormtrooper squad, he would have been just out of it immediately. My Ogrins captured this. I tell them to do some power harassments. I did a quick strike with a Manticore. A Manticore can kill generators, which is an
Power node
excellent
is
form
getting
of power
away from
harassment,
us.
by the way. Because if you can't find a good place to use your Manticore cooldown, you're not doing it right. And he's doing the right thing here. This is a good setup. Sentinel in the back, heavy cover in the front. What are they going to do? They're going to try and break through here. These guys don't have the range. And look, he fires again. And he even gets a turret down. Not too sure if I agree with that. It seems kind of a waste of resources at this stage in the game, but whatever. Mind you, these turrets are incredibly useful against scouts if you're playing.
Sir,
as
our
Space
structure is targeted.
I actually moved up to tech level 3. I was having a lot of fun in this game. We have such a massive lead, it's not really mattering at this point. But, oh, he does actually use a command ability and put some mines down. Those mines go against vehicles, so he can't move his sentinel out, which is actually not a bad call. In fact, moving a minefield right here, while going down to attack this, and he knows his sentinels are going to come through here, is definitely going to slow everything down. I do a quick Manticore strike to, get them away
They
a
have
little bit.
100 points, sir.
Your Manticores can also be used defensively. Ogrins go in here, quickly take down the last turret. It's not a big pickup. At level, Ogrins are very good against them. In fact, they're one of the better units. He does an airstrike. Don't do an airstrike on such mobile units. As soon as I saw that, if I would have been here, I would have activated the sprint ability, and I would have gotten out of there really
All the
quickly.
help we can get.
So, don't try and do an airstrike on very fast mobile units. Now, what we see here is we have...
Structure under attack.
Oh, he actually ran over a mine. Nice. I didn't notice that previously. What do we have here? We have 2 squads of maxed out guardsmen. That's 12 guardsmen in a squad. That's actually quite a bit. That means they've got a sergeant and a commissar. They have not been upgraded with anything, by the looks of it, yeah. Meaning they don't have plasma guns or they don't have flamers. So I would
Sir,
have
the
liked to have
advantage
seen
is ours.
flamers possibly, but it may not be the most effective. Catching Devil is doing some range damage. The mines are doing a good number on this. This is a horrible idea. Why are you moving in? You're going to be suppressed. You're moving against 3 squads. You don't know what your forward position is. Why are you trying to move in there? It's a bad idea. Now, let's see. This is actually a very defensible location. What is he going to do to break it? How does he think he's going to break
Imperial
it?
Guard structure reporting damage.
Moving his hero in first to tank and soak up damage, moves everything behind it. But, yeah, not doing that bad. Use a shotgun ability on this, get it all pinned. Brilliant. Uses an airstrike at the same time, and grenade launcher. Oh, sorry, that may have just been the grenade launcher. Doing a really good job, but what happened? He used all his big steam push at the very beginning, and he wasn't able to break it, fully break it. He just didn't have enough stuff, and enough effective stuff. Because look, this guy's launching rockets. We can even move forward a couple of seconds here.
The
Look at that
Inquisitor
squad.
is stronger still.
Almost killed one squad right out. I push an airstrike in. At this point, we've got such high-tech units that they can't do anything. So he knows that, and he's actually getting a storm squad. Brilliant decision. Nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a very good idea. Moves in here. I think I get my augments on these mines. Oh, I don't. Never mind. That would have been silly of me. A Chimera, effective, basic armored unit. If you can keep it at the back of your army, it can be fairly useful. Not going to comment too much about
Upgrading
it.
tech.
Now, I'm not too sure. This is one of those weird instances where I'm just not exactly sure what he was thinking. Why did he build a Sentinel so late in the game? What purpose is it going to serve? And he doesn't even micro it correctly. If you're going to invest so much in a unit, make sure you're going to micro it and make sure you get the right unit.
We are
at the
winning
right
this
time.
one, sir.
Now they're all at tech level 2, so they could have gotten a much more appropriate unit to counter us. In fact, if these guys would have gotten a Manticore, even one of them getting a Manticore, would have broken all of this. They would have been forced to retreat, he would have been able to move in, and if they would have had just one anti-tank gun, they would have been able to take it out. So, cooperation is also a big key in this game, let's never forget that. But he's still trying to break this front line, which is so heavily defended. Don't attack where your enemy is strongest, attack where they're weakest. And a big note, that grenade ability of the Devils, it's not effective against vehicles. The Sergeant you get, he has a melta-gun, kind of effective, but he doesn't make up for an entire squad. So, don't equivalent the two. And he's forced to retreat yet again.
Let's get to it.
Over here on this side of things, kind of boring. He has his Lord General out. I'm having a bit of fun on this. I decided to get a Baneblade for no particular reason, because the match is over. It's 409 versus
Tech
43.
is at maximum capability.
In fact, if the match was more even, I would have already captured this point to give them the thing. I actually wanted to delay for some more time. Yet again, another Sentinel? What is he thinking? This is just a bad idea. This late in the game, what's a Sentinel going to do? Note, if he had switched to the anti-armor rockets, dude would have done a lot more damage right there. So, not a good investment. Sentinels are great at tier 1. If you can keep them alive to tier 2, great. If they die early tier 1, may be able to replace them, but it may not be the best idea. But don't replace them at tier level 2. There's just no point. And Lee gets another one.
Let's get to it.
It's okay. Everyone here is going to make mistakes. Once my
Sir, the advantage is ours.
silly tank gets in here, there's very little they can do when we push up, and it becomes a slugfest.
We are under attack.
He moves all his troops up into some mines, which is actually kind of amusing for me, and we shoot things. At this point, he's doing the correct thing, going around to the back. The Sentinel is still bad position. I still have this place to cover it out. The match is already over. It was over a long time ago. They just didn't realize that, unfortunately. So anyway, I hope you guys have learned something from this. I'll leave you some final images. This goes at ×2 speed of shooting stuff. Of really some of the basic tactics you really want to use and some of the basic tactics you really want to avoid. The major problems being that you want to keep your units alive in the beginning. You want to have correct positioning. You want to have the correct upgrades to counter your enemy, and you want to definitely not send in the same unit type against the same unit type if the enemy player has more in a direct fight. It doesn't matter how you're going to position it, 2 units are going to beat 1,
The Inquisitor
even
progresses
just a
again.
little bit of micro. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.